Throughout human history, there are certain periods that are etched in memory as ages when light triumphs over darkness. While a large part of Europe was plunged into the darkness of the Middle Ages, there was a civilization shining in the East. This civilization rose not only with places of worship, but also with libraries, observatories, madrasas, and science centers. This period went down in history as the golden age of Islamic civilization. The House of Wisdom, established in Baghdad, was the greatest center of knowledge of that era. With the encouragement of Caliph Mamun, works from all over the world were collected and translated into Arabic. The books of Greek philosophers, the works of Indian mathematicians, Persian medicine, and even the wisdom of China came together here. But most importantly, this knowledge was not blindly preserved. It was developed with new interpretations, experiments, and original contributions. Thus, a cultural synthesis was formed, and the knowledge heritage of humanity was advanced. The foundations of mathematics were laid here. Al-Khwarizmi was known as the father of algebra. His work titled Al-Jabr led to the birth of the field we call algebra today. Thanks to his studies, equations were solved and complex calculations were simplified. Additionally, the concept of zero was adopted and systematized by Islamic mathematicians. The development of the decimal system provided great ease in processing numbers. Al-Kindi combined mathematics with philosophy. Ibn Turk worked on algorithms. In fact, the word algorithm that we use today in the West is directly derived from the name of Al-Khwarizmi. In the field of astronomy, Muslim astronomers looked to the skies, observed the movement of stars, and measured time. Al-Batani calculated the orbits of planets and the length of the year with astonishing accuracy. His data was later used by Copernicus. Nasir al-Din al-Tusi studied celestial bodies at the Maraghe Observatory, and the Tusi couple model he developed inspired Copernicus's heliocentric theory. Al-Zarqali developed astrolabes, and astronomers in Europe referred to his tables for centuries. Ali Kushji, on the other hand, moved his studies from Samarkand to Istanbul. He contributed to the establishment of astronomy in the Ottoman Empire. The field of medicine also reached its peak in Islamic civilization. Ibn Sina, with his work, The Canon of Medicine, was recognized as an authority not only in the Muslim world, but also in Europe. This work was taught in universities for 6 centuries. Ibn Sina presented groundbreaking views on anatomy, pharmacology, and psychology. Al-Razi was a pioneer, not only in theoretical, but also in experimental medicine. He diagnosed by observing patients and distinguished between smallpox and measles. Surgeon Abu al-Qasim al-Zahrawi was considered the father of modern surgery. He developed surgical techniques and instruments. His book, Kitab al-Tasrif, became a manual for surgeons for centuries. Ibn al-Nafis made his mark in medical history by describing the pulmonary circulation. In the field of engineering and technology, al-Jazari stood out. His work titled Kitabul Hiyal is considered a masterpiece of mechanical engineering. He designed water clocks, combination locks, and robot-like machines. He even made puppets that moved automatically for people's entertainment. El-Khazeri was one of the pioneers who laid the foundations of what we call robotics today. During the same period, the Banu Musa brothers developed automatic devices and hydraulic machines. These machines were not just technical tools, but also miracles that demonstrated the intellectual horizon of the era. In the field of chemistry, Jabir ibn Hayyan, known in the West as Geber, became one of the founders of modern chemistry. He identified acids and developed experimental methods. His work paved the way for the transition from alchemy to chemistry. El-Biruni, however, made groundbreaking contributions not only in chemistry, but also in geology, mathematics, and pharmacology. His observations on the Earth's rotation speed related to gravity were noteworthy. In this golden age, not only science but also philosophy rose. Farabi centered on reason and logic. Ibn Rushd brought Aristotle's interpretations to the Islamic world. When their works reached Europe, they became ideas that broke the chains of scholastic thought. Therefore, the spark of the Renaissance was actually ignited in Islamic civilization. The cities also carried the light of this science. Baghdad, Samarkand, Bukhara, Córdoba, Cairo. These cities were centers not only of trade, but also of knowledge. Their libraries held hundreds of thousands of books. It is said that Córdoba's library contained more than 400,000 works. In Europe, during the same period, most cities had only a few dozen books. This difference was one of the greatest indicators determining the direction of civilization. But a question comes to mind. If the Islamic civilization had advanced so much, why is it not at the same level today? Why has this region, which once carried the light of science, fallen behind today?
The answer to this question is multidimensional. Firstly, political instability dispersed the centers of science.
During the Mongol invasions, the libraries of Baghdad were burned. Rivers were filled with ink and books. Later, internal conflicts weakened the strength of the civilization. The prominence of dogmas over scientific thought and the weakening of inquiry were also significant factors. In some periods, religion and science were made to conflict. However, during the Golden Age, these two walked together. Meanwhile, the West processed and developed the knowledge it received from the Islamic world and became the pioneer of the age with the Industrial Revolution. Today, millions of people living in the Islamic geography look at this magnificent legacy of the past and rightly ask, why did we fall behind? In fact, this question is also an invitation, because history exists not only to remain in the past, but to illuminate the future. If the courage, spirit of inquiry, and love of science from that era are revived, the Islamic world can rise once again. That is why remembering the story of the Golden Age is not merely nostalgia for the past. At the same time, it is a call to rebuild today and the future, because the light of science belongs to no nation, no religion, no geography. It is the common heritage of humanity, and it is our responsibility to revive this heritage. The Golden Age of Islamic civilization should be recorded in history not only as a tribute to the past, but also as a call to the future. The courage of Ibn Sina, the intelligence of Al-Khwarizmi, the imagination of Al-Jazari, the curiosity of Jabir ibn Hayyan. Works are not only treasures of a period, but of all humanity. But what about us? How far are we advancing this legacy today? Perhaps the real question is, what are we waiting for to start a new golden age?